There you go.
Committee of the whole. I'm calling this to order, committee of the whole meeting. And I left my agenda in there on the thing. So what are we talking about? Committee of the whole, it's going to Corbin, right?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for
Annexation, that's right.
convening in committee of the whole this evening. We'll try to be brief. Warren, will you go to the map? Here's the issue. When we annexed a portion of unincorporated county with the Wood Ranch MDA, MVP process, which is this area that Scott's showing right now, we created a county island. At that time, the county said to us, essentially, we don't like county islands. West Jordan, will you come back and annex up the whole island? And we said, we will try. It's private property, it's the voters, it's the property owners, they decide, but we agree. We don't like county islands either, and we will attempt to annex. I believe we've met that commitment of attempting to annex. Here's what we've done. The area in yellow is in the process of annexing currently. I emailed to each of you a status update of where that annexation stands as of yesterday, if you're interested in the details of that annexation process.
Just for those two, they've wanted to be annexed for a long time and they've
Hell,
come
they
and
have
asked
West Jordan
multiple
address.
times.
they've asked, okay, great.
Yeah, the yellow.
The area in yellow, yeah, there's about, I wanna say there's about 240 homes. They are now, there is a ton of background and work, legal description, surveying, legal work that has to be done to get to the point where now there's 10 sponsors in that neighborhood that are about to walk the neighborhood and collect signatures for the petition to annex. And once they have a majority of acreage, majority of the area to be annexed, and at least a third of the value of the property in the area to be annexed, then they can submit that petition for annexation.
City.
To the city, and then the county. Yeah. And there's more steps, but
Once it goes to the county and once it gets to us, then there's the
border commission,
Right,
lieutenant
there's
governor,
all
it is a
that.
convoluted process. It's
I
challenging.
know Amy Winder Newton was there. I don't remember if there were any others, but she held a meeting. I think it was her, and there were several residents that came, so I think they've got their numbers easily.
Yeah, I agree. I was to that was the meeting we held at Falcon Ridge.
At the elementary school.
Yeah, and we did a survey for that land. It's not what we're really here to discuss, but we did a survey of those residents, right? Before we did the annexation for Wood Ranch.
Yes.
We did a survey of those residents and like 70% of them already thought they were in West Jordan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, in our survey at the time, there was a strong desire to annex into West Jordan. So that's
Are they currently county?
Yes.
unincorporated county, they're served by the county.
They decided to secede from Utah.
I tell you though, it's because my district is in this area,
Yeah.
right? This would go into my district. I get calls from people in that neighborhood in an election year when they see my name out there, but they call me up and they say, why, when I call the police, does West Jordan Police not come? Why would I call the fire department, does West Jordan Fire not come? Am I not in West Jordan? Or they call me
Yeah.
up and they say, I want a sign. Why are you not on my ballot?
Yeah, I've had the same phone calls.
Yeah.
Not in the city.
All right.
So that's the process and this current status of the area in yellow.
Mhm.
What we're here to discuss tonight is the area in green. The area in green, a year and a half ago, was completely undeveloped, maybe 2 years ago, completely undeveloped. A year ago, Scott and Jamie met with the property owners of that undeveloped area in green and asked them if they would like to join the process to annex. So we could do one process for the whole island.
Sure.
And their answer essentially was no, because then we'll have to develop our land in West Jordan instead of unincorporated county, and it's less expensive for us to develop in the county than in the city. Essentially, it might jeopardize our entitlements, impact fees,
Exactly right.
everything else. So thanks, but no thanks, leave us out of it.
Yeah,
Was that
and
response?
they did have a counter proposal. They said, well, in order for it to pencil,
we're gonna have to talk about increasing the density
By double.
by almost doubling, yeah. And we didn't tell them no, we said, well, show us how you're gonna do that. And they have not responded to multiple
And they've
comments
continued to develop.
under their existing entitlements, yeah.
But the thing that's happening is that the legislature is going to force that island to go someplace.
House Bill 330 passed this last session. It was Representative Tusher's bill. That did force all county islands in the county of the first class to go somewhere. If you're completely surrounded by a city, you automatically annex into the city you're surrounded by.
Except for White City.
Incorporated.
If you are an island between two cities, you automatically annex into the larger of the two cities, larger by population. That takes effect July 1, 2027. So what's now at play is this area in green will automatically annex into West Valley on July 1st of 2027. Unless the state law says if the two cities mutually agree that the area should be annexed into the other city. Now, Salt Lake County, I'm grateful to Salt Lake County because this doesn't always happen. I met with their mayor's office about 4 weeks ago, and they said, the developers in this area are starting to come back and wanting to tweak their entitlements and their plans. And our response to them was, you're going to end up in either West Valley or West Jordan. You really should coordinate with the city that will eventually serve you. So then they met with us and said, okay, West Valley, West Jordan, which city is going to eventually service this? So where do we send the developers? Because we don't want to answer them. We want to kind of point them to the area that will eventually have to operate and serve this community. Thank you, county, because sometimes in my experience, the county has kind of developed independent of the cities. I'm grateful that they reached out to us. About 2 or 3 years ago, I met with the city manager of West Valley about this, and West Valley's attitude at that time was, we're indifferent, we don't care. You can annex them. We're not gonna push to annex them. I don't know if West Valley still feels that way. I suspect they do, but I'm not sure. So after our meeting here, the next thing I need to do is meet with West Valley and see if they care. Because if West Valley cares, if West Valley wants the area in green, it will automatically go to them.
Unless they do a petition in the meantime, right, before January 2027.
Yeah,
Which like
And
those
choose to
sounds.
come to West Jordan.
but it is, the petition process is arduous.
Yeah.
It is about a 2-year process.
So it's
But if they start it before 2027, when that law goes into effect, are they
If-
grandfathered in?
no, I would tell you it's probably
halfway
they
down
have
the
to be
road?
completed before January.
Yeah, I would assume the same way as Kelvin.
There is a neighborhood that is now there though, and
There's
we know
two.
that there's at least
One
one
resident.
resident that wants to come to this.
And she happens to be public information officer of the year. So, you know, she's quite influential in that neighborhood. Cause she knows how to get information out.
Nothing
So
says
let's
not,
take from that way
not
over,
attached.
give that way up, because straight boundaries just aren't
Can I
fun.
just tell you my opinion? Cause we're all, we know what we're looking at. And I'll just give you my history. I have been involved in islands and annexations and incorporation petitions since 1990. Since the dawn of time.
1990 was the dawn of time.
It
I
was.
in School, it's good time.
I was on some community councils that fought your former employer, and your former employer, because they were cherry picking corners. You know, we won't mention Harmon's at the corner of 78th and 7th that should be in Midvale or Union, but ended up in Sandy because somebody went to a corner.
What about Walmart on 5600 West and 6200?
And Walmart at that's another one. And what we have done and is that we have boundaries in the county that make no damn sense. You know?
Like zigzag?
But the problem with boundaries that zigzag, ask the people in
Nobody
Highland
knows what they,
Bluffs.
yeah.
Nobody knows who they call, nobody knows who they respond to. There's lots of service implications, but there's also a common sense thing, right? It's the same reason that Mill Creek ends up in 4 different congressional districts, is it makes sense, but it's weird,
For a minute.
right? My personal opinion is if West Valley doesn't want that spot, I'm good with working it out because it cleans up a border that makes sense. It says West Jordan on that side of on the north side, what is that, 62nd South? 66, same thing, only different depending on how it wanders. That 66 South, that's a mutually agreed upon border that makes sense, right? I mean, it's just like, if you think about it, that doesn't make sense is the fact that West Jordan City actually has some acreage east of the Jordan River that's in West Jordan City. That makes no damn sense, right? The river should be our boundary.
No, I-15 should be our boundary, but we screwed up decades ago.
Well, okay, but we are West Jordan, and we have, you know what I'm saying is that there are some commonalities that help define city boundaries. And if that goes to West Valley, it just isn't common sense. And I think that we could make that work and make it common sense there.
Stays with the pattern. of
Another
62.
consideration is that that green patch is in Jordan School District.
Probably granite.
It is it's in the Jordan School
it?
District.
Is it really?
66 is the
So-
boundary
That's
between.
right.
West Valley City and the Granite School District are north of that line, but the green patch is in the Jordan School District. I
It would be
believe there's
confusing.
no part of West Valley City that's in the Jordan School District.
I think it'd be
But we
confusing
do
to
have
have
Granite School
spot,
District
We have a
in
little bit.
West Jordan.
to have that be West Valley City and then have those students be in the Jordan School District would be confusing as well. So I personally am in favor of the annexation, even if it does end up costing the city money.
Oh, well, I'm okay with annexing it because I feel like I told the county I would, but I'm not willing to give them any, like, if West Valley is gonna give them a better deal and they want it, great. I'm not willing to give them concessions to come here.
I don't think we're not asking for, we're not negotiating with the developers in any way. We're not telling the developers, okay, come our way and you get better entitlements or more density, nothing like that. With the state law changing, the power shifted from the power of annexation being in the property owner's hands
To
to
the city.
the cities. And so now West Valley and us are in the driver's seat about it.
And
I
will
have a
they be
question.
like that part of terrain and be serviced by Kearns Improvement District?
It is all in Kearns Improvement District. So a couple comments real quick about perspectives from different departments. Financially, it's not a big financial windfall, but it's not a terrible drain. There's a little bit of commercial planned in the area, probably C-stores or small professional office. But the residential density is such that it's not a financial drain. And a lot of the roads will be private, the way the development plan is currently. Public utilities didn't care a whole lot. They actually want it because water and sewer are on KID either way. But stormwater would be in West Jordan and they'd like to control because downstream is at us.
Right.
So they'd like to control
Oh,
stormwater.
so that drains to West Jordan anyway.
Um,
Okay.
police police's motivation or response is generally the quality of the development depends on the long-term management of those properties, and that's what will drive police calls for service. In general, the more dense it is, the more calls we get. But not all dense projects are created equal.
We're gonna need are there plans, are we talking about a substation of some kind out on the west edge
Long-term, that land we bought for a fire station is intended to hopefully serve
in
both.
Jones Ranch?
Yeah,
And Jones Ranch. Police, fire has automatic gates. They're more or less indifferent. However, if the flyover on 70th ever occurs, they can service this area quickly and it's very helpful. Frankly,
Even when the
we
bridge
service
goes,
this area.
even when the
easier.
crossing at 7400 south connects to U-11 across the railroad tracks there, north of the Maples, that will facilitate fire from 55 to. Fire's not far from there.
Yeah.
No, that's not that far from
Um,
55.
Scott, you want to speak to your department's perspective on this annexation?
Well, I think we're fine either way. There's existing entitlements that are nearly 20 years old that occupy a good chunk of this property. It's nothing that we haven't dealt with when we annexed Okra Shadows or Dixie Valley. There are some grandfathered uses that we just need to manage and be aware of as they pull building permits for the entitled portion. If they expand the entitlement within the scope of West Jordan, they would have to play by our rules, by the ordinances that this body sets. But Corbin, we're okay either way. We've done this before.
Can I ask a question on that?
Mhm.
Are there impact fees that have been paid to the county for projects that are now underway that we're gonna have to take the financial load on?
Yeah, typically,
Is there any recourse on that?
unless there's an annexation agreement that states otherwise, typically, impact fees, most of the impact fees are paid when you pull the building permit. So anything built right now, they've already paid their impact fees.
I don't believe, we'd have to do some research because it would be really interesting to say, hey, you paid those impact fees for your impact. But then you annexed before the impact fees were spent on, the improvements, the parks, the road or whatever.
Right.
Can we claw back some of the impact fees the county collected?
Yeah, let's do it.
But I want you to.
I don't know if that's ever been litigated.
I don't think it's ever been,
Blazing a new path there.
Litigated, it should be amended into the
might.
law that
But
the mayor passed
it will help
that
us.
forces these annexations to happen anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if that
But
would.
assuming that impact
don't know how
fees
much-
goes to
We're
the
down.
county, I would just say
Put
this.
the work on.
The parks impact fee goes to the county parks and rec people, right? Either they spend it on Kearns, they're gonna spend it on something else, or we want them to spend some of that money at Ronwood Park for another regional rec center.
We could use it as leverage is what you're saying.
Well, I don't know if you could use it for leverage, but I think we can work with the county to say, hey, you were getting some impact fees. What is this? How does, and there's some deals to be, there's some deals to be made for an area like that. If they've already had paid their impact fees, and so I don't think the impact fees are going to, and as some of those impact fees may have already paid for the fire station down on, for the that county fire station that got abandoned
56 and 62 or.
on 56.
Yeah.
So there's some things that we can do to negotiate, right? And so
It'd be an interesting question, yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to go,
That's a good question.
because if I were the developer here, I would try to pull as many building permits as I could before 2027, so I'm paying the county impact fees.
what
But
are the
if-
entitlements?
If we know it's coming into West Jordan, I'd like to go to the county and say, you're gonna collect a lot of impact fees from this area in the next 2 years,
Where's the check?
but you're not really going to be building the
Impacted.
infrastructure from those impact fees. Can we negotiate about that?
Exactly.
And that's an interesting thought. You asked about current entitlements for Gary. Scott, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, again, about 20 years ago, the Gateway to the Oakers master plan was approved for this area at, I think, 819 dwelling units, in addition to a little bit of commercial along Bacchus Highway. But so 800 and, I think 819 is what I saw.
You
So-
get a sense of the development now.
Yeah.
Cause that's the Sky Ranch development.
This area really hasn't received entitlement, which is what they're seeking from the county now. Before
And the
annexation.
county's saying, if we're not gonna entitle that area, work with the city that will.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be the great, this,
Because the Sky Ranch area is already done.
nothing, we're not gonna let you do anything until we figure out the city would be the best thing.
I'm sensing mostly favor for annexing or pursuing with West Valley an annexation of the area in green. Is that, can I get thumbs up?
I already told.
When do we go after the
County
red
is,
section?
So I feel like.
It's actually not a pro.
Hostile.
One part I'd want is
You
the
wanna
part
merge
west
the
of
West
Exeter.
Valley?
No, I just take it over.
That's all we needed. Is Councilwoman Bloom online with us?
Yeah,
I
I'm
get-
a thumbs up.
Good thumbs up. Okay. Okay, that's all we have this evening for committee of the whole.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else that needs to be brought up?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Be brought up. Motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Bye.
We're adjourned.
Yeah.
You're not here.